this up. Okay.
Actually, already in this game against Maximo Shilograph, it might be tricky. I see that Maxim is playing very fast, and these guys are checking
sorry
games.
guys for interrupting, but I think Hikaru's game is about to finish. Oh, so I'm too late.
Finish?
They finished. They have just finished the game.
Ah, that's the Berlin. Yeah, that's the famous refutation of the Berlin variation. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wish I knew it earlier. Yeah, to play it.
This is Alexandra. How do you deal with the Berlin? Like
I normally lose with white, so that's why I say that it's a good step forward. That's a good step forward to to make a draw, to agree that it was all this, you know. Well, I mean, those things that we are being taught from the very early age, that white needs to fight for an advantage in an opening, that you just forget about these strange things that someone put in your head, and you just move forward with understanding that chess is it's a drawish game, and it's okay to make a draw, to accept this, especially when your opponent is brave enough to play the Berlin against you.
How's it going, you guys?
I'm kidding.
Hi, Hikaru.
It's Hikaru.
How you guys doing?
I'm gonna do some cropping now, so the chat is not gonna see us.
Yeah, sure.
Hikaru,
Hikaru?
That was a pretty riveting game. That was a.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when I look at these tournaments, I think at the end of the day, there's one goal in mind, and it doesn't matter if they're 12 players or 16 players or whatever the field is. You kind of want to play to what your strengths are and what your advantages are. And I felt that kind of going into today, I thought we see multiple Annas. Anyway,
I'm taking over your channel. Sorry, Hikaru.
No,
we're not here. It's like four Annas. Anyway, yeah. So what I was saying is kind of like I really felt that my chances today. I was looking at the first couple of games, my two whites specifically, and this last game kind of was a bit of an afterthought. That's not to say that I didn't have some ideas or what I thought I would do, but I really kind of decided that, you know, if I played Sergey, if he was going to play the Berlin or something, I would kind of try to, I would basically just decide at that moment what I was going to do. And, you know, the fact that I was on +1, it's good. It's not great. I think I want to be on like +2 perhaps. But that being said, it's still a good score. So I can't complain. And yeah, I mean, I maybe had chances for more perhaps, but I also had chances for less. So it was very up and down.
Any games that you would highlight? And I think from our perspective, the only game where we were a little bit worried was the one against Nils Grandelius, just because it was this Berlin and you didn't go for the usual D6 development. Was that your preparation, H6?
Not really. I just decided to play Bishop C5 for because I felt like doing something different. Honestly, there's no other reason for it. And it was actually a very poor choice by me because I hadn't looked at the line ahead of time, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna play this and see how it goes, kind of. And yeah, it was worse for a period. But I think the thing is also with players like Niels who haven't had a lot of experience playing these online events, I think kind of coming off a loss in the first game, he's trying to be solid. It's like it's very hard to just be in that mode of going all in. And I don't know if he had a win because I haven't looked at it yet, but it felt quite good for him. But once he went C4. The game just started going the other direction, where it's just, even though I was still worse, it was playable, and then slowly but surely he started drifting, and I was able to win.
Lovey, is that your camera size?
What? Lovey, you don't have the 4-cam overlay?
Nope, we've never had 4 people, so I've
send it to you. 1 second. Let me pull it.
No, don't. It's well, I guess you can. I guess.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I've got it.
Oh.
I'll send it to you, and there you are.
I think it's fine if you take over the small board.
Oh no, I gotta highlight the talents on the stream. I mean, we gotta. All right, I guess.
Okay, there you go, Levy. I sent you the 4-cam overlay.
Oh, okay. I get my own slot. I just cropped everybody. I'm having fun. But anyway, but overall satisfied, I would imagine. with the results?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I look at it is kind of, you know, it's like it's a score that I was hoping to have. I felt that my best opportunity was against maybe Niels and or David Anton, probably David Anton more so because I had the white pieces. So I got sort of the desired score from that. And then, I mean, the game against Hikaru was also kind of strange because it was a situation where I really needed to be very aggressive. And then I was too tentative and I tried to play something where I thought it was positionally better, but it got very messy. So I was a little bit disappointed in that because perhaps I could have done better if I just gone for an all-out attack with bishop h6 and h4 rather than what I did. But overall, it's a good result. And the Nepo game, like, kind of I'm also quite happy about in a way, I guess, because this is a major tournament, right? So this matters more than the last one, I think.
Yep.
But basically what happened is that you know, if I had done my homework, if I'd actually reviewed this line, like, you know, I had taken some time and I'd been serious about the previous event, I would have played bishop e6 in that event. And I would have probably drawn the game that I drew today. And I would have made the top 8 in that event. So you know, I took care of the mistake from last event. I mean, I did some preparation for this event more so. And so hopefully that pays dividends. Because if I had drawn that game in the previous event, I almost certainly would have qualified. So just hopefully that pays some dividends, the fact that I actually did my homework for this event.
Well, we have, for the first time, 2 grandmasters on the coverage with us, I think, right? And we've never had two GM guests, so we have games to talk about. We should talk about those games. And,
sure, let's talk about the games.
Actually, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go change my shirt.
Oh, now back to 1 GM. Okay, Alexandra, no pressure. You gotta carry us here. What are we thinking?
Well, I think we started with the game between Maxim Vachilagraf and Shahryar Mamediyarov. And what I was saying, these guys, I think they are kind of preparing in between the rounds as well. Probably their seconds watching the games of that are being played in order to, for example, get Maxim ready for this rare line of Philidor that Mamediyarov has been using today. And we see that the position that White got out of the opening, is excellent. They're way ahead, I think, in the attacks that are being going on. This is the opposite side castling position, and that means that it will be pretty sharp and pretty tense. But from what we see right now, I think White is just ahead. They should get to the black king faster.
It does look like that White has now sorry, Levi, I was just going to continue on that thought that cool. Alexandra has mentioned, that after g4 it looks like it's very straightforward. You go, will you push h4 as well? Will you go g5? But those are like very straightforward moves, the h and g pawns. And for black, how do you create a similar kind of attack on the queen side?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think I can sum it up pretty easily in terms of what's going on. Is I think Shahryar is sort of taking this like he is a very, I'm just going to play something and that's that. I'm not really going to do like preparation per se. I'm going to treat it much more casually and just stick to one opening. And as I said before, in his game against me, he was probably completely lost if I'd gone bishop h6 and h4. And this game, again, if Maxime finds the right moves, it's clearly winning for Maxime. But it's sort of Shahriyar's decided he's just going to play this Philidor every game and hope for the best, kind of.
Guys, is this just a thing with me and Anna? We're always, like, every time we see Anish get slightly better position against Magnus, we want to see him beat him because we want to see what he's going to tweet. Is that just us? Or is there any rivalry you look forward to also? Well, Hikaru, you're playing. I mean,
well, I mean, I would be much more to the point and far more blunt about it, which is if you look at Anish's games, it's very similar to Peter Lecco, where Anish gets advantages almost in every game with White, and then he finds a way to make some mistakes, or not make like real mistakes, but he ends up turning it from a much better position into a draw. But I feel like every game I look at Anish, doesn't matter if it's Magnus or who it is, it seems like he always gets an advantage with White. And so I think you're always rooting to see him win games because it really is painful when you see him squander these huge advantages. So it was really nice to see just in general for me.
Alexandra, your thoughts? Sorry, I was just gonna ask Alexandra too about the same, and
well, I think
if you were looking forward to the tweet as well.
Well, Anish is going to tweet either way, so either he wins or loses or spoils the moment. I mean, the tweet will come. So I just, I'm not thinking or looking forward to his next tweet. Just mostly looking at the games.
There is a significantly higher chance with a win. I mean, with a win, it was oh man, it was within a minute he had his phone and or I don't know, computer. And
you know him better. You know him.
Oh
better.
yeah, I can. Yeah, right. The social. He said he was retiring. He did the fake retirement. You know, athletes do it. They say I'm retiring, and then they come back. He did it with social media. Magnus Carlsen David Anton is a Spanish. Actually, Hikaru, we were gonna ask you about your game in the Spanish versus David Anton.
Yeah.
How far in the prep was that? Because it was like 25 moves before you thought for the first time, right? So
yeah, I mean, I think I had looked at that position up until we doubled up the rooks, but then I think the computer says something like H4 is playable rather than H3. But it was nothing special objectively. But yeah, that was all pretty much preparation for up until I played H3 or not H3 up until I played was it G4? I think up until G4, yeah.
27 moves. Well, probably even after that, right? Because he took, you took, and then
right. I think there's supposed to be some H4 that's good for white, but again, objectively, I think it's probably one of these positions where it's like an alpha zero kind of thing. Where it's like the computer sees some random pawn pushes and some setup that's really good, but I didn't see it, and yeah, that's how it goes.
We were trying to find a way to get you to sag b2, play queen e4, and play f5, but it was like never.
I mean, I could have done it because I always have a repetition with queen e4, queen e8, b7 or something, but like I didn't see a way to win it anyway. So yeah, it was never really happening. No, that's why I needed queen f7, Levy, though. If David Anton goes queen f7, queen e4, then I gambit the pawn, I get f5, and it's winning.
Was that the plan? Was that
kind of? That's what I was hoping for. Yeah.
Yeah, because we looked at that, and that looks really convincing. But
the computer says I'm losing.
Well, the computer says you're worse after gf5, king f8, which if he had found.
Okay, true.
I mean.
Also, in that game, when you took on d4, the computer wanted black to not take the rook, but capture on g4.
Oh, yeah, rook d4, queen g4. Yeah.
Yeah, I also blundered this. I played the wrong order, and then I spent like 3 minutes trying to figure out, do I just take and hope he takes the rook, or does he go queen g4? And then he played queen g4 instantly. I felt really stupid for wasting 3 minutes trying to figure out if I could do it, or if I had to go like queen f3.
This is, that would have been... yeah, queen g4 is kind of an insane move. Anything interesting going on? Magnus just castled queenside, so that's going to be a fun game.
Wait, did David Anton play at Berlin against Magnus?
No.
What did this come out of?
Just like a regular.
Oh, it was a delayed. Okay, it was a delayed. Okay.
Does this have a name?
Oh no,
delayed anti-Berlin.
Delayed anti-Berlin.
It was closed. It was like the closed into the and then transposed kind of into Berlin. Yeah, that's what it turned into.
Delayed anti-Berlin.
Right, but what happened here? Keep going after fe3.
Yeah,
but see, but knight b6 is just a terrible move, of course. Because if you go back instead of knight b6, you go b6, bishop b7, and it's very similar to this game that I had against Veselin Topolov, which I lost in the FIDE Grand Prix, and I believe it was in Hamburg, Germany, in like October 2019. You go bishop b7 and you castle long, and the white really has no attack towards the black king. I mean, in that game, I had already castled short, so I mean, it's a little bit different, but still, even if white castles long, black is very solid here.
Alexandra, would you like to bring up a game you played a long time ago and something similar? I have not played in... I don't play Berlin, and I remember...
No, I'm just listening, because it's always interesting and fascinating to, to spot this little nuances that, for example, knight b6 is a terrible move, Hikaru says, and wow, I wish I could say, I mean, the same think so instantly. It really shows the experience the player has in this kind of structure and positions that I don't have. I usually either play it like open Berlin line with the end game, or well, some other lines, and that's why I'm just looking. I'm just looking at the position and thinking, why is it so bad, and what was. It's a very good lesson for me as well.
Like, I mean, what I would say also though is like in the Berlin, also you have to look at ideas and piece placement more than just like actual moves themselves.
Yes.
So it's like. Like when you think about the Berlin, when you get the double pawns on c7, c6, you're almost always looking to knight f8 to e6 or g6.
Yes.
Your knight is never going to d6. Now maybe in this case it's possible. I guess computer thinks you can do it, but I can't recall any Berlin game where I've ever seen a knight going to b6, c8, and d6. It's always going to f8 and then g6 or e6. So it just structurally looks a little bit strange here. Because also, what is if white gets d4 and e5? White's just going to be rolling here.
Right. D4, E5, G5.
I mean,
also,
yeah.
If black plays B6, like where's black's king going? Long, right?
Has to go long, yeah.
B6. I mean, is it? It's also pretty rare to have two long castles in the Berlin, right? Because if you play like G5, if you play G5, where does the knight on D6 go? That is.
Well, if g5, black probably goes f6 at some point and then tries to take that diagonal. Because if you go h4, you give up g4. And so g5, f6, and I'm going to go knight f7, and you have to worry about this weakness on h3. So you don't really want to do that, I don't think. I mean, maybe you go g5 and like queen g2, rook g1, something like this. But my instinct is that you don't want to push the pawn. And actually, that reminds me, like, that was one thing that I think Gary said. Gary, by the way, let me be clear on that. Gary, not Geary. But like Gary would say that Magnus really doesn't like to push the pawns forward. He likes to delay that. So in a situation like this, he's probably going to try to delay making a decision with this pawn on g4 as long as he can, because he doesn't like making pawn moves. Other than, like the classic h3 type moves. But once you're out of the opening, once you're in like the late middle game, he really doesn't like pushing his pawns. He tries to delay as long as he can.
That's a really interesting detail about pawn pushes and how he thinks about it. Can I ask the opinion of both Hikaru and Alexandra on the Fun Forest Nepomniachtchi game? Because I think that's a very sharp position and someone's gonna be losing.
It was another modern by Nepo. Nepo plays another.
What was the opening? Another Pirk or some, I don't know, some variation of it. Or maybe transfer to the King's Indian or some...
This looks like a blitz game I would play online when I'm playing someone who's like 2600, and I don't want to play normal King's Indian, so I throw in a random a6 move for no good reason. That's what this looks like.
Wow.
How did it work out for Nepomniachtchi? What do you guys think of the current position?
It's chaos, no? It's like completely insane position.
Jan should be enjoying it. I think he is always looking for this kind of chaos.
But the problem with this is that don't you have to calculate extremely precisely? Like that takes a lot of effort. No, I mean it's just
for mortal beings, for not.
But
for
it's
Jan.
+2. I mean, like at the end of the day, it's going to be a crazy game, right? But so it's just like, doesn't he take a lot of risk doing this, or does he just believe in the fact that he's going to outcalculate Jordan?
I want to know what Alexandra has to say first, because obviously, I mean, you know Jan better than any of us do. So kind of what are your thoughts on sort of the style, the way that he plays? Because it's very different from, I feel like, most other Russian players. So what are your thoughts on like when he plays these really quick games, doesn't really think? Like I know Grishuk has made some critical remarks about Jan in terms of like making these instant moves, but like how do you like you feel? Or I mean, like in general, when the Russians see the way that he plays, is it great? Is it like what's he doing? Like what's the general atmosphere, I guess?
Well, I don't know. I think that every player is special, of course, in its own way. And for Jan, it's clearly, for him, it's like more, psychological problems are quite important. I mean, the way he sees the tournament, the way he focuses, the way something should be very motivating for him to focus and to really like play seriously, let's put it this way. And here it's clear that he sees this tournament as a warm-up or some small exercise before the candidates, and now like the candidates is his number one goal, and he's only focused on this goal and the tournament in April. And right now, well, it's clear all the openings that he's choosing, starting with the Pirk and then going to the King's Gambit, shows that, well, he's just having fun, I think, at least in this particular tournament.
Yeah, Anna and I thought the same with MVL, because MVL today played knight f3 and c4, so it must be a month out from the candidates, right? So they have to be careful with what they can look at and everything like that.
Very true. How do you see it, Hikaru? Since you wanted to hear Alexandra first.
I mean, I think ultimately with Jan, he just moves. Like he has no worries about blunders or bad moves or good moves. He just moves, and he doesn't really think or worry about what could go wrong. Is my take, kind of when he does. He just plays the move, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work, oh well. Like I think most people don't have that mindset. I think it's very hard to have that mindset. Like for me, for example, if I play a move and it's a bad move, I feel really bad about it. It's like, why did I use more time? Like what was I thinking? Kind of. But I think for Jan, it's just he goes with the flow, and he really tries to put his opponents under pressure on the clock. So I think that kind of gets back to the psychological part of it, where he's always ahead on the clock by quite a bit of time in most cases.
I'm a little bit surprised. So a lot of people are also asking why the move knight to e6 was not played instead of king b1. And I kind of have the same question. I think there was something, but it is
probably he saw the boogeyman. He probably saw queen f6. Queen f6 and then knight f8, some e4, and if knight g7, some rook c5, knight c3 weirdness. That's the only reason. He probably saw knight g7. Rook c5, king c3. b1, and some knight c3 weirdness.
Resonates, yeah. Wow.
I mean, I don't even know it's good, but the point is here, with only 6 minutes, what can you do? Like, if you don't see a way to defend against it, it's almost impossible to play it. But if you had like 1 hour on the clock, I mean, if you had an hour on the clock, you could very easily calculate all these variations. But with 6 minutes, it's just not possible.
He's being solid. C6 actually looks very annoying, doesn't it? Because you can't, like, if you play knight e7,
then c7, I believe.
Yeah. And then if knight back, feels like there should be some trick, but I don't know what it is.
Actually, don't see it right off. Yeah.
Is it bishop f4, knight f4, rook d6?
Oh, it could be. Yeah, it could be.
Whoa.
Actually, it could be knight e7, bishop f4 right away here also.
Yes, that's what is being played, I think.
But bishop f. Okay. I mean, this is also probably quite good for white after queen d3 because your whole structure is closed. So black's queen is off sides, and if white gets to take d6 and put a knight on e4, that's game over, basically. So this game will hinge around whether black can play e4 and open the diagonal and get counterplay. Because otherwise, I think it's just lost after queen d3. Maybe even queen e4. But I think both moves look really attractive here for white.
Queen e4, queen d3.
Actually, what is the move after queen e4, sorry? How do you stop the threat if bishop takes d6?
d5? Then rook takes d5.
Oh,
yeah, knight d5, bishop f8.
Yes, and knight f7, checkmate.
Yeah, not just the fork, it's even better.
I was just going to say that the computer is savage and wants to not even move the queen, but play rook takes d6. How do you guys evaluate that line? Oh, and it's on the board. Okay.
Amazing.
I wouldn't have predicted that Jordan plays it.
It's just he only sees it because, like, it's kind of the idea anyway, right? So you just hypothesize, what if I do it, and then if rook c2, rook h6. So I guess in theory it's not so hard to convince yourself it's the best move, because you just have to calculate, like, how far do you calculate? Rook c2, rook h6, right? Bishop h6.
And you king c2, and you know you're winning. That's all you calculate, basically.
That would be a very big win.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait. No, rook c2 takes bishop h6. Do you take on e7 or do you take on c2? I'm not sure. Probably you just take on c2 because, yeah, the bishop versus knight is losing. Like rook c2 takes, king c2, bishop g5, rook check, king d3. The king gets to e4, bishop c3, and it's a dream. It's just technically winning by force.
Well, by the way, in this position, you have to take the queen, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Rook d6, bishop d6? Or no? Oh, yeah. That's bad.
That's too bad.
That's terrible.
Too bad. Yeah.
I
don't know. I look at the Jan's games sometimes. I mean, when he plays it this way, and I just wonder whether, I don't know, how does he feel when he's seeing so? It's sad. It's just like giving away these games without even playing. I think, well, for me, it's like the worst possible scenario. When, well, I don't know, you're just not trying hard, or you're not in the right mood, and you're just giving away without whole points, and then you start regretting. Looking after the whole tournament, you start analyzing what have you done, you say to yourself. And
yeah, it's almost like the poker approach. I know poker players who play chess, and one in particular will resign in the first 10 moves if they think they have a disadvantage. They just play hundreds of games, and the mindset is, you know, sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. But yeah, my whole life I will think of a move for like 5 days sometimes, like after a tournament, or I think most of us chess players are like that. We think of like, why did we not see that? Or why didn't we spend more time? But Jan is completely, it seems like the opposite. Does he really get upset if he loses a game like this one, for example? Or is he just like, whatever?
No, I think so. I think he does get upset, and it is quite stressful for him to lose. I don't believe that he does not care. And that's why it surprises me every time when he is playing this way.
I think you speak for all of us.
Certainly, it's not being his best tournament. It's going to be 1.5 points out of 5 if he loses this one.
Well, I mean, also don't forget, you guys, in the last tournament, just like me, he crashed out of it in the last round. Wasn't he in the running to qualify? And then he lost this terrible game with white to Dominguez, which knocked him out of the top 8 as well. So yeah, it's just one of those situations. Tough tournament.
Well, bad day, right? But there are 2 more days to play, 10 more games, and it can be turned around. But of course, it's more difficult to start to get back after a bad start. It's so easy when you start well, when you just win all your games. It's just another tournament, a different one. And I say, when people are asking me about, for example, leaders play, well, I say, if everything goes your way, then it's not a big deal. You just, somehow everything clicks, and you just put your pieces on the right positions, and lines, just variations work out pretty well for you. But what to do if nothing works your way? That's the biggest question, I think, in every chess player.
Can we? Or did you pull up another game?
Wesley just blundered. Yeah, Anish just played rook takes knight. It's game over.
Oh, because you just check on e1. Oh, yeah.
The in-between move, or if fe3, then queen e3. Oh my god, wait.
It's a big blunder.
He literally made a move?
Wait, did he have a way out of it, though? I mean, it's a blunder still, but wasn't the position already getting bad?
Well, he played c4. And I think
C4 is where
a blunder, yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
so
he just resigns.
He didn't realize d4 is an issue.
You see, that's Anish day. Everything goes well. I mean, he just won against Carlsen, and it's like when you win, you get this confidence, and there is another win coming often. And I think he regrets. He regrets now that the day is over for him. It's not continuing. Tomorrow is another day, and how the games will go, nobody knows. What?
So true. Everything is going in Anish's way today, but tomorrow is a new day.
Yeah, so what other games do we have going on?
We
have a lot, actually. So
yeah, we have a lot. So MVL is completely winning.
Yeah, but see, this is another thing I don't understand. Is like for Shakhriyar, like he's not in the candidates, right? No, he's not in the candidates, and like so he's having a great day so far. So I don't understand why now when it's like the last round, he doesn't default back to like just playing solid. I mean, not solid's the wrong word, but playing more of his main repertoire, versus playing this, because I mean he was in a lot of trouble against me. He's obviously been, I would say, pretty much lost in this game from the start. So it's very strange to see him continuing to play at this opening.
Yeah, has he played it every game today? 3 games with black?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think he just made this plan to play this opening after e4. And I know some very strong players who suggest not to change the plan when you are playing the tournament. Just if you made this decision, just go, don't shuffle, don't just play according to your decision, and then but he lost.
What was this b6 move?
Yeah.
It just loses by force.
I didn't quite understand it, and also how the knight got to g1, and what is it doing there?
Yeah, how did that happen? It's been there for a while. It just went there. He actually didn't take anything. He just brought the knight.
He just, yeah.
He just put it there.
Poor knight.
Yeah, we've seen some horses mistreated today. Anish took 2 from Pichot. I keep saying Pichot. I
think it's Pichot, I think.
Pichot?
I think so.
Oh, so, okay, you also don't pronounce it. Okay.
I thought it was French, but maybe it's not.
No, I don't think his surname
No, I mean,
is
he's from Argentina, but I thought the last name was French.
We'll need to ask him, because there has been a discussion about how to pronounce it, and we are not quite certain.
Let's just say peach oat. Peach oat.
I think the emphasis is on the second syllable. That's for sure. Pichot, if the T is pronounced. And
Pichot.
But I'm not 100%
well, that's a
sure.
Russian word, which means he bakes.
He bakes?
Oh,
well,
Pichot.
if you say Pichot, yes, then it means that he's
There was a lag there. I was like, what? And, yeah. You have to conjugate the word. Firouzja, Grandelius.
I mean, Jan has some chances maybe here if he can get some e4 trick in to maybe salvage it. The other games, okay, Alireza is worse, isn't he? 2 bishops.
2 games now that Alireza has not had 2 bishops, and he's suffering. He doesn't believe in the bishop pair. But yeah,
I think he'll be able to draw this though. Like he's not going to be able to win, but I think he'll draw this game. Oh, he decided to play like me. Bad idea. Very bad idea.
Because he can't do it as well?
Well, I mean, I just think everyone's used to this now. I think everyone's used to this opening, because I've played it so many times online that I think everyone's used to it. I think it's still playable in Blitz, but in Rapid, I just don't think it's good enough anymore.
How much do you think the players are studying games, like from Blitz and Title Tuesday of all these players? And
I doubt they're studying them that much. To be honest, it's probably just you look at your openings, you see what people have been playing, if there have been games that are being played online, and that's that pretty much.
I think the last time Alexandra joined us, we were talking about how even like a random game in Title Tuesday is now in the database. Not even a game against like Grandmaster and Grandmaster. Like I saw a game I played against the 2000 ELO player. It's in the database, and it shows that I play the Budapest Gambit. I was like, okay, great. They're gonna prepare Budapest Gambit. Fantastic. Like, it's gonna be tough going back to over the board. I'm gonna play everything: B3, C4, D4, E4. Like,
well, you know, to give you an example, if you go into Mega Database, you'll see that they're like, I played Jan actually in some match on ICC, and like I think it was ICC or maybe it was PlayChess, one of these sites, like in 2005 or 6. And like if you go into Mega and you search out games, you'll see like a 20-game match of Blitz games that is in the database. So half the time when I go and look for some game in some random line, I'm like, I didn't play this against Jan. Why are these games here? And then I click on the game and I see it was just a random 3-0 game, like a Blitz game that should not be in the database at all.
I remember looking up at a game and being like, oh wow, you played Hovhannisyan, who you play now a lot, and that was from 2007 in like Dos Hermanas online tournament. And I'm just like, wow, that's legendary. This one's kind of boring. Rajabov is completely winning versus Daniil.
Yes, I'm looking at this game right now.
Dubov has had a decent event so far. 3 out of 4.
He started very well.
And that happened in the Catalan. Who can imagine that White can get such a position out of the Catalan nowadays?
Isn't this like what he plays now? He plays this all the time.
No, I mean the Catalan is so solid that you can never imagine White getting such an end game.
Queen F2. He blundered Queen takes F2.
But probably he blundered before that.
This is just mainline theory. What is knight
okay.
C5? This is just mainline theory.
Is it?
Of course it is. This is why you can't. I mean, when Black goes C5, I mean, you basically have to take with the pawn, and it's just like just a draw.
Well, C5 is mainline theory. Losing Queen takes F2 is not, right? Because I don't think being down to DC5. I don't know. Very strange. So did he just think and get creative?
It's DC5 Bishop E4. I mean, this is very well known. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. What happened? He clearly probably mixed up something. Well, knight takes C5. Otherwise, he spent 4 seconds on this move. So he played it instantly.
Yeah.
Oh. And then...
no. It's DC5, knight E4. That's the correct line. That's the line that I'm
thinking. Yeah.
Not... Yeah,
so
exactly.
after knight takes C5, it's like...
It's just losing.
Yeah. And he played this move instantly and then probably realized what he has done. He spent almost 2 minutes contemplating, trying to figure the way out of it, but didn't quite manage.
Yeah, so C5 on move 13, you have to take with the pawn. Because if you pin your own knight to your queen, what Dubov did...
Yeah.
Dubov and Nepo are such enigmas.
But I would say actually I was thinking about that. I think there's quite a difference between the two though. Like Dubov, he will lose games, but when he loses games, it's because like he tries to come up with something creative, a creative idea that just doesn't work. Nepo, when he loses some of these games, you're just like, you throw your hands up because you don't know what, it's like there's no explanation. So I feel like when Dubov loses a game, and it's because he's very creative and the idea didn't just work out. Whereas when Nepo loses some of these games, it's just bad from the very beginning. There's nothing like even there. So I do feel there is quite a difference between the two.
But the result is still the same, yeah?
Yeah. Chess is cruel in that way, isn't it?
Yep, it is still the same. It's definitely worse to lose games you had chances and could have won. At least when you get rolled, you're just like, okay. I mean,
yeah. So Magnus's game, we haven't looked there for a while, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys about this Rook game because it seems very promising for the world champion. Is there any chance for David Anton to hold this?
So it's 6 versus 6, right, Pons? I counted correctly. Yes, it's 6 versus 6.
I mean, like all Rook and Pawn endgames, this must be a draw with correct play, but. What is the idea here? Rook d6, e4, and then you want to bring the rook to e6, I assume.
Yeah, that seems to be promising.
This has to be a draw with correct play, but whether Anton can play this correctly is the question.
Yeah, putting the rook on e7 with the lingering threat to go rook e6. And do you have to go rook e6 at the right moment? Like, does the king have to not be somewhere? Not be on b6, maybe b7? Like,
Oh, that's true. Actually, you can do it. You can maybe throw in a check on b8 and go back to e8. There's probably a little nuance.
Magnus plays rook f7.
Where does the king go? The white king should it go around to e4.
It can stay for the moment because
you can't go around because there's probably e4 at some moment.
Also, for black, like the only move you could play here is a king b7, or can he do anything else? Like he's almost in a Zugzwang position.
Yeah, the more I look at this, I feel like there's probably some. I don't think it's a draw. I think probably there's a way that you can probably triangulate here, or get a Zugzwang where you can get the like if you go rook e7, king b6, e4. What does black do?
You can play rook d8.
Yeah, but then I go
rook e6, and you take on b5 with the pawn, right?
Yeah.
Forcing the king to take, and then the pawns are terrible.
King b. Where is he going?
Probably
going to
he's just
a3?
waiting.
Yeah,
He's just waiting.
I think he's just playing a waiting move here.
Well, sometimes it's good.
Rook e6 though is that at some point white can probably play rook e6, and there's always this idea of b4 and a5 also.
Guys, I don't think he's waiting.
Trade the rooks.
He's I was asking
king b7. What is his plan after king b7?
Yeah, what is he? Or I mean, is he just gonna go back to b2? Like, what is the?
He might. I mean, every move.
But I mean, Anton should just move instantly here. There's nothing to think about. Just go king b7. Because he's way down on the clock. So he should just move instantly, get those 10 seconds.
Before, yes, that was his idea. To play b4 when the king is on b7.
So he wasted 2 turns to get the king to b7, not b6. And now he... Okay, so he's convinced this is a win. Because of the bad structure for black, and the rook is so passive.
Yeah, and then if you go back, king c5, is that progress? There's rook d5 though.
Yeah,
and then
no,
back
this
to
is
d6.
this is winning, yes. Because now rook e7. I mean, I don't know if you play e4 or not, but some rook e7, rook e6 must be winning here.
Technique. Why is it still? Why?
c3, e4. Yes, he's protecting the d4 square, not to let black rook to play rook d4 check after e4.
Interesting that Sassy is quite critical of this c3 push and says that Magnus has spoiled some of his advantage because black can go c5. And that's Sassy dropping the advantage from, it was like +3 or 4, and now it's less than +1, +0, 87.
Really?
I know that one shouldn't trust the engines
But that means
much,
it's a draw.
but Sassy is saying +0, 63 now.
You know why it's a draw? Because black can go c5 and king c6, b6 and shuffle the king now.
Oh.
That's probably why.
So
and
what did he have to do?
He would play rook e7 instead of and then rook e7, and if black plays c5 there, what is the difference?
And David Anton plays c5. It's his only chance.
Yeah, if he hadn't played c3, if he played rook e7, c5,
maybe the pawn end game is win. Rook e6, king c6, and take on d6. Yeah, c takes d6, e4.
Yeah, you have this extra tempo with c3 at the end. Yeah.
Yep.
So takes, king c6, e7, king d7, king c5, king e7, and this is a winning king and pawn endgame with king d5. Wow. What the hell? That's
games here, tricky.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The chat is informing us that it was +10 before
I was winning.
C3.
I mean, yeah, because the computer sees that
it's
idea.
It's so obvious when you see the computer evaluation. It's so obvious.
I mean, I still think Magnus has good chances to win here because he's going to go rook b5. But
oh Jesus. Yeah.
But I mean, this sums up why chess is so hard, because like for us as humans, we see this position and it's so unpleasant to have as black, and a computer would literally just make all the right moves, and that's that. Like literally, it would just go every single best move, and it's just going to draw this position. Even though for us it looks, I mean, this is your worst dream is a position like this where you're just much worse and suffering.
Yep.
The endgame that seems to be already completely winning is Ali Reza Firouja's endgame against
He's winning.
Grandelius.
Wow. What the hell? He's winning.
Who's winning?
That's what I was thinking.
Ali Reza.
Wait, how did Niels mess this up?
Wait, probably
really?
Time, right? Well, bishop c5 is that's very fancy.
Classy.
Just missed the fork and everything.
He missed the fork.
But he exchanged the rooks. I think that was a blunder. Rook d8.
Just this. Oh my god. Oh, rook d8 is a mistake. Just rook d8. But he doesn't have to allow the fork, does he? I mean, just king d7.
But then...
King c8,
king d7, knight f8.
But then knight f8.
King c8.
King c8.
Yeah, but still
then
G5
and knight f8,
yeah, it's probably a draw, but it's pretty unpleasant. It looks very unpleasant.
Yeah, and it's also official that Nepomniachtchi's game has finished.
Jordan won. Wow.
Fan Forest has won, so Nepomniachtchi is on 1.5 out of 5 and has to pull himself together for tomorrow.
That's crazy. Well, tomorrow Jan is either going to get like 4 out of 5 or that's the end of his tournament, right? I mean, I don't know. It seems like... Is Jan the kind of guy to stabilize tomorrow and then try to win it all on the next day? I think it's...
He can. It can... I mean, it can go either way for Jan. If he starts well, if he plays well, he can win even all of his games. I mean, the players that can get... 1.5 out of 5, and the next day win pretty many games. So it doesn't really. I mean, the result here doesn't say. I think doesn't put the point for his tournament just yet.
Guys, this endgame, Dubov, Rajabov, one thing to be careful about, right? Don't accidentally. Don't make it H-pawn and bishop. That would be tragic.
Yes.
But your knight is boxed. The knight's being abused here by the king and the bishop.
Horsey abuse. It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't make it... we had this earlier. The Geary endgame versus Magnus could have been bishop and pawn, and it was the right pawn.
Right.
Wow. No, I mean, this one's been over for, I think, some time. Wait, Aronian and Pichot are still...
Aronian is pushing. Yeah, he has an extra pawn.
It was a Magnus Carlsen variation. I haven't seen this in a while. This variation.
Oh, yeah.
Queen d3. Looks more or less normal. And then
I mean, this is very similar to a game that I had against Wesley in the Grand Chess Tour, I think in Leuven in 2017 or 16 it was. This opening is very similar. So I think this has been played before.
Not this far though. This is
no. But I'm saying up to like this bishop f5 c5. I think it's all pretty standard.
I don't remember. This not your game. I don't remember. I had this in my notes, but I don't play. I like e5 on move 4 rather than cd5. But e5 is like the.
Well, yeah, but I mean the thing is, bishop f5 also is not clear if it's the best line because there's also this line where you can play. I think it's just c5 there. Or is it knight c3? There was some
knight
line
c3
that, like,
and c5.
Yeah, knight c3, b3, c5, which I think was played in quite a few games between Grishuk. Grishuk had a game against me where he was white and I was black. There was another game where I had white against Ding in that. But I think that's supposed to be pretty reasonable as well.
Yeah, this is an endgame that Mr. Pichot needs to keep his queen on the board.
Yeah, if the queens are gone, it's over.
Hikaru, very similar structure to your endgame against Niels, right? This trapped bishop. And did you know that there was a moment you could have played g5 and like the bishop is trapped? There was like one moment that we were laughing. The eval bar went from -2 to like -6, and there was like a g-pawn push, and you can like trap the bishop somehow. Like when he moved his queen away, and you played queen d2.
Oh, it's queen d4, queen b3. Oh, g5 there. Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to disgust you over a game that you won.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible.
Okay, well, don't get. I mean, you won the game. I mean, like what?
Yeah, no, but I should have seen that. Yeah, queen b. How did I not see g5 there? Anyway, all right.
We were like, why did it go -5? And then, but the ability to win a completely symmetrical position is not understood. Like when he played queen e1, I was like, okay, queen trade. When you played queen d8. What was the logic? It's just like, just play, like whatever.
Quick question, in this position, if Pichot goes queen c1, queen f8, bishop d3, bishop d4 is winning, I guess? No, but then queen f1 and f6. Because I think you have to go queen c1 here, right? He does play it.
Yeah, queen c1.
Pichot, yeah. Because now you have to take the bishop, right?
Because two pawns are hanging,
d4,
right?
But yeah, no, you have to take.
Okay, but queen f8.
Bishop d3.
Yeah.
Bishop d4, and then probably you play f6. You probably just leave the bishop on f1 for a move or two.
Yeah, bishop d4, queen f1, king h2.
It could well be happening right now in the game, so we shall see bishop d4, f6, or queen f1.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go f6 first to keep the idea of queen f4 alive.
Oh, he played. Look what happened.
Whoa.
He took on f6.
Yeah, he didn't keep that queen f4 idea alive, and now he might get punished for it.
I mean, I think this could have happened anyway, though, because white still could have played bishop f6 after, even if you leave the bishop on f1.
True.
One guy's...
No, but, you know, I don't like this decision from Levon, because I think if this is not clearly winning, the moves for black become very easy. Like, white had a big advantage on the clock, but now black is almost like only moves. Like, you only have to look at, like, the king and the bishop, basically. You bring the bishop back and then move the queen, and then it's on Levon. And he's going to have to use all his time to try and find a forced, like, technical win now. Whereas I felt like he could have probably kept pieces on the board and used the time advantage. But now it's probably going to go the other way.
For a second, I was confused what Pichot was thinking. I was like, why is he not playing? Okay, wow, he goes there.
I mean, king h7 is the only move, right? Or can you go bishop g6?
He played bishop g6, yes.
He did.
No
He's trying to
triangulation. Yeah, I was wondering if there's a triangulation here.
But why put your... I guess there's no real way you can get punished.
It's one queen. It's just a queen.
I feel bad for his bishop. It's just...
I'm also being told that David Anton has blundered and now it's back to +9, the position of
That
Magnus.
seems
not surprising.
It seems like a big advantage, yeah. Oh, so Magnus like walked his king? So what did David Anton do wrong?
Good question.
Hard to say. Well, he got this endgame, apparently.
Yeah, the mistake was he's playing Magnus, maybe. That's the issue. But I guess it's a position white plays forever, so you have to be really sharp for a very long time defensively.
Yeah, and again, we're only humans. We're not computers. Computer would defend this like easily. But that's, yeah, it's just one of those things.
Man, that rook on c8. Very passive. What is the win, though? Well, first of all, you could play rook a7, no? I mean, sorry, rook a5.
Yeah, I think you take the pawn and then you bring the rook back around. But that being said, it's still not so easy to win, maybe. No, but you know what you can do? You can go to d5 and then push the pawn to c6. And if black pushes the pawn, you get an outpost on d6. That's probably the winning idea.
You can try to get your king to b5.
Also, yeah, also.
Oh.
You can go around, make several rounds. If it doesn't work this way, you get back to g4.
That's amazing. That's
Although,
amazing.
Is white winning after rook a5, rook d8 or not? Because rook c5, rook d3, rook c7, king e8, and then king h5, rook g3. I'm not so sure that this is actually easy.
But if I play c5 then?
After king h5, rook g3?
Yeah. c5.
And then rook g5? Yeah, it's you're right. It's just winning because you're...
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah.
I mean, I distract the rook with the c-pawn and then go to g6.
Yeah.
Looks winning. Yeah.
And then if king d8, you always have rook f7, so...
Yeah.
Pick this up. Yeah. He's gonna be up a pawn. Uh-oh. Rook a5 now?
Rook a5. Yeah, it's just there's just too many threats here, I think. Well, how can you defend the pawn? You can defend on h6, right? Because you're gonna have to go like king d6.
Oh.
Rook a5, but then there's c5.
Although now he played king f3, so king d6 and rook h8 is possible, right?
Right, but then I get c5 check. That's the problem. I get c5 and c5, yeah. Oh, but no, but then rook h6 and you still hold, right?
No, king c7, rook a7, so you cut off the king.
Right, but the thing is, after rook h6, then you can bring the king all the way back around, all the way around to the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
we're gonna
bring it.
We're gonna get the walk.
Yeah.
Here goes.
Why g2 is fine.
It's happening. It is happening.
Yeah. I mean, you can probably even go d4 at some point as well, but yeah, it's just very clean to walk the king straight to a5.
Really, no need to calculate anything.
Yeah.
You can just.
And if rook h3, you take.
Yeah.
But there's always, like, you can't move, right? Because now if king e8, rook c7, you're not in time. So by the time the white king abandons the d3 pawn, then you don't have enough time to defend everything. This must be brutal, these games. You just sit there and, like, maybe you have a hope of defending and then you end up losing anyway. Damn.
I mean,
a cat playing with a mouse, right? Same thing.
Does feel like that.
Letting it go almost, and then catching it again.
Guys, look. So it's the trick. So Dubov plays King F2. He's
I had this in a game, like in like 1998. I was playing this tournament in it was in Trinidad and Tobago, and I played this guy Stuart Rubin. He's a pretty famous organizer. He used to organize Gibraltar, and he was like 2200. I was like 1900, and it was some end game. It wasn't GNH. It was like ENH or something, and he had a bishop and I had knight, and I forget what it was, but at some point he let me take the pawn, and he forgot that when he took the knight, I could run my king the other way. I didn't have to take the bishop back. It was like knight e3, bishop e3. Instead of king e3, I go like king g2 or something. And so that's what this reminds me of.
I had
Hikaru, yeah, just one question. Do you remember all your games that you played, even online games? Like, of course.
No, I think it's just when I see certain end games or certain structures, it jogs like a certain game that I had. But no, I don't remember everything, of course. Not even.
See, I don't have as many games on chessgames.com as you do. So when my chat can put like the moves of a game in my chat from chess games, I'll remember the game because I just like there's some games that are just like when you're preparing and studying. But if someone pulls up a game from Marshall Chess Club round 3, you know, of some random tournament, of course I'll have no idea. But yeah, the database of games. Alexandra, what about you? I mean, like, because you played the elite circuit like so much.
No, I've played so many games. Yes, at some point I just realized, okay, I don't really take into consideration rapid and blitz games because there's too many. But at least classical games, I just realized that I start to forget my classical games as well, and just probably too many games have been played, and just brain refuses to remember all this nonsense that's going on.
Anna, you are the only one who has not contributed. Please contribute to the class.
I have been looking at the other games. I must admit, I was waiting for the other results so that we can conclude the round, but it's not over.
Levon's gonna win, by the way.
The Dubov game has finished. That's the only update there.
Yes,
Levon endgame is very nice. I like him. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It shows the power of the past pawn. I mean, of the advanced pawn, far advanced pawn.
This poor queen on h8. A5, A6 mate. It's going to be mate on
right,
B7.
exactly. You have to go like bishop c4 or something. But I think when you go bishop c4, then I go a6 maybe, and queen f7. Something
queen
like
e5
that.
now is a threat after queen f4. King f4, sorry. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I actually don't know if I like king f4 because now you go king a8. And I thought a5 a6 was winning. No, but I mean, the thing is, if you go king a8, right? But what does that do? King g5.
Just moving
Oh,
forward.
king f5. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, no, queen d4 was crazy. But if you go king a8, where was the win? I mean, it's winning long term, of course. But I thought like there was a trick with king a8 and bring the bishop to d3, maybe.
But can you play a5 then? After king a8?
King a8, a5, and then bishop c4. And still a6, maybe.
And what about the plan was g4, g5, g6?
Yeah. No, there are many ways. Queen e5 now, yeah. Okay.
And it's just over after queen e5 check. What a game.
Bloody final round. Hikaru, you were the only draw.
Yeah. What I would say is in general, it's better when I think there are a lot of when there are a lot of decisive games. That always makes me happy.
Just because people
in a
will
field
go...
of 16 players, that's insane. 7 decisive results.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I would say with the format, actually, this is one of the problems, I think, when you have formats with more players, like 16 as opposed to 12, is there are more decisive games, but you see the people who are at the bottom, it's actually going to go the other way now, where people who are near the top, most likely they're going to try to be solid and stable. They'll take their opportunities, of course, when they have them, but they're really going to be looking to try and score against the bottom half, the people who are in like the bottom 3 or 4.
Yeah, because we talked about that earlier, the concept of the target. You find, well, Nepo is obviously the craziest there with 1.5, but there's also 10 more rounds to go.
Karjakin is also on 1.5.
That's surprising to see.
But I think
I didn't actually realize that. But
between the two, I don't know. It just feels like Karjakin, like, he's not, we haven't seen him as much. So a guy like Nempo you see consistently, and I almost knocked over my water all over my computer. That would have been exciting. But like we said, 10 more games and a couple wins here and there.
I mean, I actually had a question for Alexandra in regards to the targets. I was kind of curious if it was the same way, but like, when you look, I'm trying to think, did you play in any of the FIDE Grand Prix, for the qualification cycle for the Women's World Championship or no?
Yeah, I finished. I won one and I took two, well, not last places, but very close to it. Yeah, I struggle always in those Grand Prix, but yeah, I played them.
I mean, I was kind of curious if like the one you won, if there are certain people, I mean, of course it depends how the tournament is going, but like if certain players start doing badly at the start, if kind of you have an eye or like you're thinking about those people or the targets of the people that you really want to try to win against.
Well, I mean, you certainly pay attention to the result and you keep this in your mind, but it also depends on your own like history with this player. And I know that like in let's say men's tournaments, that is like often if one player is struggling, that means that most of the players will try to get this point from him. But I think in ladies tournament, it doesn't always work this way. Although of course, I mean, players usually on very high levels, they feel this opportunity. They feel that this particular player is in a bad form or is struggling. And if there is a possibility, of course, they will try to attack and get this point. Yeah, that happens. That's why actually I struggle in this tournament so much, because you don't get a weak opponent even if you lose. You can lose 2 in a row, 3 in a row, but then next day you are playing against the top grandmaster anyway, probably world champion, and of course you don't get this rest that is needed to recover after such losses, and that's why these tournaments are very painful. And yeah, if you start to lose, then it can go on for many rounds. That's true.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, I was just kind of curious if it was the same way or not, because I know, like,
very close. Yeah, I think close. Mm-hmm.
Although I would say, like in men's terms, you're right. Is like I don't actually even think about this history of the score that I have against someone. If they're doing badly, I'm going to try to beat them. It just doesn't matter. Like the whole history doesn't, to me at least, it's kind of irrelevant. I just try to win. If Anish is playing in Tata Steel, there was one year I don't think I caught him on the swing, but there was one of the years in Tata Steel, I think he lost 5 games in a row at the end, and I think it was like 2016 maybe.
Man, poor Anish just got
no, but the point is, like, so as he's losing games, like everyone, the next person, everyone's just looking at him like, it's like they're just seeing that tasty fish or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but it's like they're salivating at having that game. So like it's interesting because I don't think I know, at least for me, the personal result doesn't matter. If someone's having a bad event, then you're trying to beat them.
Yes, that's sport. It can be very rough, very cruel world. But well, I think in these tournaments there are more players and the field is not so like even in some ways. So well, of course there are top grandmasters playing, but still you get this feeling that you sometimes can get this small pause to recover and make a draw probably, and then get stronger in the next games.
Yeah, like stabilizing and then playing after that.
I was just going to ask before we wrap up to Hikaru and Alexandra, out of the players that are currently below, let's say 2.5, so the players that would be out if it was today, the end of the preliminaries, from 9 to 16s, who do you predict that they will recover, that it's likely that they will recover, and who are the ones that perhaps will struggle?
I guess I'll go first. I think for me, I think it's actually quite surprising to see Wesley out of the top 8 at the moment, more so than anybody else. Jan, of course, it's surprising, but Jan can have a great tournament. He can be like, he could have like 4.5 or 5 out of 5, but having 1.5 out of 5 also is within the range of reason. So it makes sense. I think Wesley's probably the most surprising. Ali Reza, I mean, I think for Ali Reza, it's not that bad because it should have been worse. Like this last game, for example, he should not have won against Niels Grandelius. So I think for Ali Reza, he's riding a high right now, even though he's currently out of the top 8. But I think Wesley for sure. The others, maybe Ali Reza's a little surprised, but definitely Wesley, by far and away.
Alexandra, your thoughts on the bottom 8, and who do you think will be making a comeback and who may not? From their performance, from their form today.
Of course, I will root for Jan and for Sergey to make to show a better result tomorrow. Yeah. Definitely, because I mean, for the Russian players, they've been struggling in the last tournaments. I mean, okay, I think Dubov played versus Carlsen, but then they're barely making it to the knockout stage, and that's a pity. And yeah, in case of Wesley, I can agree with Hikaru. I'm sure he will show a better result tomorrow as well.
So it's been reported that Magnus Carlsen mouse slipped C3.
Oh.
I was going to study this opening. You ruined my evening.
I'm sorry.
For real?
Yeah.
No way.
It's unfortunate, but wow, it's crazy that MVL thought he was being trolled. So he played like B6.
So well for Magnus, we were praising his decision because he was thrown off. MVL got into a French defense he wouldn't have played normally.
I know. Well. It's good that he got his namesake, but unfortunately, yeah, it did not go that well. There's a master troll. Imagine he actually meant to play C3 and he's just lying. Man, I mean, there's so many mind games here. No, but this was great. And now that I have this 4-camera overlay, happy to do this more often. Thank you, Alexandra, for joining. Obviously, thank you
for
to
inviting.
Well.
Thank you so much to both of you.
In the second day.
Another day.
Tomorrow.
Another 5
Definitely
games.
follow Chess Queen. Also, we were going to shout out the mods. So, Anit Chess in the time of Nick, Spice Hideout, Thrashix, and Wandering Bishop. So, thank you all. This was a wild day.
And also thanks to my moderators on my end as well. Well, obviously, the main stage is always on Hikaru's channel. Tomorrow, it's going to be on Lavish channel, the secondary dance floor.
Yeah, and I think Alexandra recently crossed 30,000. On Twitch,
Whoa.
so
No, not 30. No, not yet.
Almost.
20.
You will.
20. Today, I spent 20,000. Way to go.
Well, you'll get 30K now that we'll get chat motivated.
You'll get 30K. You'll get 30K.
Right.
I'll be like, oh, you're saying we can't get 30? And then they're gonna.
Let's do this, Fox.
Yes,
well, if you say 30, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this stream has been going on for a while, so I need to check the number.
It's like reverse psychology, you have to tell them, oh, I bet you can't do it. They're gonna be like, oh yeah. So anyway, It was a pleasure. Hikaru, best of luck tomorrow, and Alexandra, we'll see you in the next few days.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
See you guys.
See you guys soon. All the best, Hikaru.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.